Welcome everybody. This is video number 2, and I will admit I am feeling considerably nervous this time around, which is interesting, but we shall see how it goes. So I'm just going to ask for today. We have a mat or even a sliver of space, no props necessary, and just bring yourself, your presence, and an open mind. Let us start in this upright sitting position. Just encouraging the shoulders to somewhat soften or roll down your back. Arms can rest inside your lap, they can rest outside, realistically any comfortable position. And then for your sake and mine, I'm gonna offer us a moment to just pause. Eyes can be closed or open as you give yourself a moment to just slow down. Perhaps we give more focus and attention to our own natural rhythmic breath at this point, not necessarily trying to change anything, but giving more awareness to our own life force. And perhaps we encourage our lips to seal and find a few rounds of breath entering in and out of our nose. And with that breath, see if you can encourage it to go any deeper, allowing more movement to the belly, the side body, the back body. And perhaps there's one round of breath where we take a steady, full inhale and just encourage a pause at the peak, feeling how that space fills up your torso, that gentle inflation. And when your body is asking for an exhale, I want you to honor that and try to release every ounce of that breath out. And then concluding that exhale, let's blink our eyes open if they were closed, going back to the physical space here. And so I always begin a practice with a little bit of warm-up. So today I'm going to encourage us to, let's take our arms out in front, right, creating those zombie arms, and then you get to show me your lovely palms. Yeah, with that, perhaps we all have the space today to take those arms nice and wide. We've got the fingertips sort of reaching up towards the ceiling, and it's almost like we're trying to push 2 walls away from us. Let's hold that and take a breath in, always accompanied by your own breath out. And then maybe we make fists and just start to roll the wrists out. And if we go one way, we'll take the opportunity to also go in the opposing direction. Let's see if we can't come back to fingertips facing the ceiling and palms pushing our 2 side walls away. We'll take those arms back out in front. Perhaps those arms go up overhead as if we were practicing a handstand. And we'll tap our 2 shoulders with our fingertips. We're going to ask our elbows to come in towards one another and see if we can't start to lift them up. Noticing when they want to peel away, encourage them to lift up, 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 out, 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 down, 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 and come back in towards the chest. Just kind of repeating that a few times around to encourage a bit more movement through the shoulder joints. And they can be as big or as small as you'd like to create. And then we want to reverse. Making your brain work a little bit, can you reverse the direction? As you still encourage the elbows to lift up, out, down, high. Let's do maybe 1 to 2 more times around. And those arms of ours can relax. We'll take this from a sitting position out into a tabletop. So you're going to plant your hands down in front of you, swing your legs behind you, and find yourself on all fours. From here, kind of paying some focal attention to our spine. See if we can't find just a few rounds of traditional cat-cows to start. And kind of asking our belly to roll down towards the floor, feel the heart tug forward. And then we get to round, 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 reversing that orientation as we roll up into our cat. And of course, if this feels good, you can start to throw in any more intuitive movement. Letting our practice be one in which we explore the realms of our physical body. Noticing what feels good, what maybe doesn't feel good. Think of it, paying attention, building that relationship to our own selves. Now, let's see if we can't find just a few more rounds. We'll steadily return our way back to a neutral position of our tabletop, that starting point. And we can feel the 6 points of contact, that being our 2 hands, 2 knees, 2 feet. And we're in a fairly stable position. We've got a lot of surface contact. In an effort to increase the effort involved, perhaps we tuck our toes under and see if we can't hover our knees, whether it be an inch or lower or higher up off the floor. And you'll notice that it becomes increasingly more challenging to hold, a lot more muscular effort involved. See if you can't practice your breath here. And then we get to rock the hips towards the heels, press the heels down, and find our first downward facing dog. We won't hang out here too long, so give yourself either a moment of explorative movement or encourage yourself to find a sense of stillness. In order to build our strong foundation, let's encourage our fingers to spread, while asking all of our fingertips as well as our wrists to help push our mat forward. You'll notice as we try to push our mat forward, our hips are then rocking in the opposing direction. And let's let our heels lift high, ask our knees to bend, and perhaps here we take a peek at our hands and start to slowly walk our way up towards the top edge. And you're just getting as far up as you can go. And we'll inflate tall to stand, rounding, rolling, reaching our arms high. And we can anchor those palms right at our heart center. And here at the top edge of our mat, let's seal our lips. And just connect to a round or two of breath in and out of our nose. And we'll let our arms rest down beside us. And just a little warm up here for the legs. Let's see if we can rock our way over to our right foot. Yeah, just kind of encouraging more of that body mass to anchor itself, letting that right leg adapt before we ask that left foot to peel itself up off the floor. And so now we're going to ask our left leg, our floating leg, to stay as straight as it can. Meanwhile, our standing right leg is going to soften and bend. And our left leg is merely going along for the ride. So I want you to think of sending your hips backward to lightly tap your left toes. Then guide your hips forward to pull that leg back in place. So we're going to think, right knee softens, my hips go back. I see if I can lightly tap my left toes. Use my hips in that right leg to come back up tall. So soft right knee, hips go back, soft touch of the left toes, and a strong pull forward to stand tall. And I want you to see if you can do a few of these, just moving at your own pace. Noting that the toes don't have to tap their way very far. Right? We might keep them close to the body so that that right leg can really produce all of that work. If you wanted to get creative, you can start to tap your left toes realistically anywhere along the space around you. A whole lot of single leg work. Now let's take one more tap back where we then add more weight to that left foot and transition ourselves into Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge. Then we can always hang out here with the arms heavy down beside us. Or if we wanted to increase the effort, we would just ask those arms to reach up high. We can think of front foot nice and heavy. Feeling how that back leg is a strong base of support. Let's go ahead and tip our way forward. Ask our two hands to touch down. And see if we can't firmly plant those two palms on our mat. Right foot, we'll ask you to step backwards into a plank. Downward facing dog. Let the heels float high, ask the knees to bend, and this little walk or hop towards the top. Getting as far up as you can with a round and roll up tall to stand. Hands then anchor back at our heart, connecting to a breath in and a breath out. So here we are working on our second side. We want to start to shift our way over to the left foot. We'll ask that right foot to hover when it's ready. Then we'll notice the communication of our muscles, those wiggles, the wobbles. I like to say that they are confirming that we are human. It is a good thing. It's just our body somewhat learning, adapting, readjusting. And now we want to think left leg. We soften. That's the right leg of ours that tries to stay straight. Right? Think of it as going along for the ride of the torso. Soft left knee. Strong, straight right leg. Can we send our hips back to help us tap our toes? Use our hips to thrust and pull us forward. And so the right toes tap back and hips drive forward. And starting closer to the standing leg is going to be easier. So if you find that you're going too far back and you're kind of placing too much weight or load on that back foot, encourage it to stay nice and close. And depending upon how this feels, if you wanted to introduce any novel movement with that right leg. And just encouraging those right toes to be nice and light. That left leg truly gets all that work. And let's do one last round where we encourage right foot to step all the way back. We add that weight on top of it. We settle into our crescent lunge, giving ourselves permission to rearrange or readjust as needed. And those arms get to go high. Connecting to our breath. And simply settling into the experience that every pose, every transition creates for us. Two hands touch down, runner's lunge. See if you can't plant your palms to step left foot back to your plank. Downward facing dog. from our downward facing dog. And have us tap our knees down to the mat into a tabletop. So continuing a little bit with this single leg work, we're going to take our left leg back behind us and just ask our toes to float up about an inch. From there we'll bend our knee, heel draws close towards our butt. Thigh rolling in towards the belly, the chin, the chest. We want to step that foot forward. And we can always toe heel, toe heel. We can use the assist of our hands. We can walk our hands backwards if needed. Essentially, give yourself that freedom to move as you need to. Right? Let's see if we can't tuck our back toes under and hover our back knee. And with that back knee hovering, can you push your heel backwards to straighten out that back leg? So focusing on the back leg, we want to re-bend, let it hover away from the mat. So we're going to think push through the heel, the leg straightens. Bend the knee, ask it to hover. So we push through the heel, the leg straightens. And we bend and ask it to hover. And see if you can't commit to just a few rounds of speaking to that back leg. And noticing the sensation that you start to experience. Observing the narrative or your thoughts that start to surface. And notice when it starts to get a bit more difficult or challenging. Maybe we can ask ourselves, is it more mentally or physically uncomfortable? And perhaps it's a little bit of both. Now let's try for one last round. We'll pause with that leg nice and straight. See if we can't glue right hand down to our mat and let our left arm guide us into a twist. Okay. With that reaching left arm, perhaps we ask it to glide forwards out in front of us. Swimming it down past our mat, past our left leg until it extends backwards. And see if we can't take that arm into a nice circular movement. A little brain food. Can we reverse the direction? I'll take it one more time around. We'll go ahead and anchor that hand. Step our back foot, our right foot forward. And find a chair pose. Strong legs, push through your heel. Come all the way up tall to stand. Take the arms high and fold forward. 2 hands touch down, 2 feet step back. It's your plank pose. Downward facing. Moving right along, let's go ahead and once again bend our knees, tap them to the floor, tabletop. Connecting to our second side, now it's our right leg that taps behind us. And we can think of pushing the floor away, encouraging right toes to hover about an inch. From there we'll bend our knee, pull the thigh to the belly, and see if we can't step that foot forward. Again, we can always toe heel. We can use the assist of our hands to help get it where we need it to go. And once we've found that position, we'll tuck our back toes under and see if we can't lift our back knee. From this 90-degree bend, can we straighten our back leg and encourage it to rebend. So it's a straighten and bend. Straighten, push back, soften and bend. Guiding that left leg through these movements a couple times. And as we stick with it, just noticing the sensations created, feeling that slight fatigue of our muscles, the blood flowing, oxygenating our muscles. Awesome, just a few more rounds here for good measure. Moving at whatever pace, rhythm, speed, tempo that works for you. And we'll do one last soften, encouraging our pause. Right, that our left hand stay connected, whether it's fingertips or full palm, so that our right arm can reach up high. Right, hanging out here, encouraging more movement to the shoulder. We could take that right arm forward. From there, sweeping it past our mat, past our leg, extending it backwards, just creating this circular like movement. Depending on how much space you have, you might be kind of guiding that arm around objects like myself. Let's see if we can't reverse the direction. Just feeling the strength within the leg, still encouraging that front foot to push heavy, that back leg to hold and support. Right hand taps down. Take a round of breath in and out. And we'll step left foot to meet the right, taking our time, finding our way up into chair pose. Let the heels push down, legs take you up tall, arms go up overhead, hands to the heart. Let's start with rocking our weight to our right foot, and the left heel is going to hover, so we still have toes parked on the floor. We'll ask our arms to go up high, 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 and take a subtle twist to the left. And we'll come back through center. See if we can't hover the whole foot up off the floor. Knowing that we can always tap those toes down if and when it's needed. Right, challenging our balance, we're going to rotate once again off to the left. Come back through center. This time see if you can twist off to the right. Right, can we hold that? Soften our standing right knee. Ask our left leg to go along for the ride as our hips go back, back, back. Trying to tap those toes down. And oftentimes those novel transitions are a little bit more wigglier and wobblier than we might like. From here, can we ask our reaching forward arm to come down to the inside of our front foot for that low lunge twist. Now we're going to keep that arm reaching high to the sky, but maybe our back knee, which would be our left leg, softens and bends. And we straighten it back out. Let's try that 2 more times. A soft bend, and then we straighten. One more full round, soften and straighten. And this final round, I want you to tap that knee down to the mat. Tuck your toes under, see if you can't pivot your left foot behind your left knee. So it's going to come off of your mat. Right foot, that front foot is going to sweep itself slowly back behind you, and let's keep that foot on the floor to start. Top arm now reaches towards the front of the room. Hanging out here, we're asking our back leg to lift up, up, up off the floor. And we'll tap that back foot down. Keep legs just as they are. I want you to take your reaching right hand down to the mat. Left toes come back to the mat. Right toes pivot to the sky. Think of our 3-limbed plank. Right knee touches down, tabletop. Toes tuck, hips reach high, downward facing dog. And let's our knees to bend. And find our way to the top of our mats, rounding, rolling, reaching arms to the sky. Now finding our second side. Let's first give ourselves a moment to stand tall in our Tadasana or mountain pose. Eyes are welcome to be closed or open. I just want you to see if you can connect to just your breath. with the lips sealed, the air entering and exiting out of our nose. And seeing if we can't soften the breath, if we can encourage it to be more gentle, more natural. And at your pace, we'll take it to our second side. So this round, we're going to shift our weight to the left foot. We're going to peel just our right heel up. Okay, so the toes are still anchored. Giving us that point of contact, we'll take our arms up. And we're rotating towards the right side wall, asking our arms to open wide into that capital T. We'll come back to our center, arms high. And we can engage if we want to peel the whole right foot up off the floor. Okay, we can stay here, or we can once again rotate off to the right. Back to center, right foot still hovering. Let's twist off to the left. And now we want to hold the twist, soft left knee. See if we can't use our hips to drag and plant that right foot back behind us. Nice. Let's take our breath in and out. We're merely educating our bodies to always breathe. The transitions, the movements, the pauses. And now it's our reaching right hand that we're focusing on. We'll ask our torso to help us dip, dip, dip. Right hand touches down. We're in our low lunge twist. Okay, we'll see if we can keep our left arm reaching. Try to soften back knee. And then straighten it back out. Okay, 3 more times. Soft knee. Push back. Soft knee. Push back. Last full round. Okay, so we'll ask that back knee to tap its way down. We'll pivot our right toes off of our mat behind our right knee. And see if we can't take our front leg, slowly guide it behind us. We can keep the foot on the floor first. And encouraging our body to find that sense of stability, more points of contact on the surface of our mat. And we might ask the leg to float, depending upon how you feel. Maybe we could always try it. We could always tap our toes back down when needed. So we're going to keep right leg, right hand just as they are. Let's think. Left foot anchors, left hand touches down, then we pivot, left heel up, right foot back onto the mat. Left knee touches down, and it's a child's pose. Merely giving ourselves a permission to rest. Not because we're fatigued, not because we're tired, but learning how to find these moments of stillness, less physical effort, and more just time towards ourselves, connecting, feeling, noticing. From our child's pose, we're going to keep the shape, but see if you can't walk your arms out any further. Yeah, let them go as far up your mat as they can. Just kind of noticing how that intensifies the stretch. And maybe we take it a step further by letting our palms push down into the floor. And I want you to imagine that your palms are going to pull your mat towards you. The mat's not going to go anywhere, the hands aren't going to go anywhere, but we're building that sense of pulling as a way to help guide our torso or pull our torso up into a tabletop. And from our tabletop, we can readjust our hands and our knees as needed. We'll tuck our toes under and reconnect to a downward facing dog. And when we're done dog, we're going to bend our knees. See if we can't walk our feet closer, closer, closer towards our hands. See if we can now bend our knees, let our hips sink, and take our time coming into a sitting position. From there, we'll extend the legs out and ask ourselves to roll on down. We'll connect to a full body stretch, reaching the arms up high, pointing the toes forward. Hands can then rest next to you. We'll plant our feet and pull both thighs in towards the belly, offering ourselves a little bear hug. And the connection of our back body as it presses into the mat. Perhaps even offering a little sway, a little rock from left to right. Your bear hug might turn its way into a happy baby, where we can grab the back of our thighs, back of our knees. If it's accessible, the ankles, maybe the feet. But ideally, we'll try to keep the hips grounded, as well as the top of our head. And while you hold happy baby, maybe there's some movement at the toes, the ankles. And with our hands on our legs, we've got this passive position, and there's more points of contact. Let's see if we can't make it a bit more active by holding the shape but encouraging arms to merely release. And noticing how the muscular effort increases. And see if you can't offer yourselves a few breaths in and out here. Let's think of pushing through our heels to straighten both legs up towards the ceiling. We notice that even though there's no weight bearing down on our legs, they're still doing work. They're resisting that very heavy pull of gravity. So you might experience some little shakiness in the legs. Your mind might be asking you to bend or soften legs, so there's less effort, less challenge involved. See if you can hold the legs up just a little bit longer. And observing the reactions, the responses. And then we might find some movement to the ankles and the toes again. Maybe there's some pedaling out to the legs. And then I want to end by bending our knees, planting our feet. Just encouraging a low bridge. Letting the low back press down so the hips can peel first. Low back follows, mid back follows, until you're in the height that is most accessible or appropriate for you. Depending upon how this feels, maybe we reach the arms up overhead. Depending upon how that feels, maybe the arms go up overhead. If you reach the arms up overhead, see if you can reach them back up towards the ceiling. Encourage everything to roll its way back down. Maybe the legs sway from left to right. Before we roll ourselves onto either side. Use our top hand to help assist and push ourselves up into our sitting tall position. And we can hang out here for a moment, finding that sense of stillness. Eyes are always welcome to be closed or open. Connecting to our breath, while relaxing our jaw, our eyebrows. Maybe we notice all the sounds that surround us within our own space. With our hands drawing together at our heart center, perhaps we think of lifting up tall to the top of our head. And just honoring ourselves, our practice, our time that we've carved out. We'll seek to bow down together to thank ourselves. And slowly coming back up tall, reintroducing your weight to the room so the arms relax. And let's offer ourselves a little pat on our own laying backs for all of our hard work here. I know that it's not easy in these times to carve out time and space or to move when it is very easy to be extremely lazy. I know myself included, I spent all day staring down at my phone and not doing a whole lot of anything. So take care of yourselves, be well, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.